Okay, November 11th. On this date in 1919, Woodrow Wilson celebrated the first Armistice Day. It was the first anniversary of the end of World War One, and was the first Armistice Day in the United States. This eventually became Veterans Day, which is what we celebrate today. And again, that was 1919, marking the end of the First World War. The other thing that happened today in 1921, Warren Harding dedicated the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Washington, D.C. This is a tomb that contains obviously the remains of soldiers we can't identify or haven't identified from each conflict. So one from World War II, one from Vietnam, one from Korea. And it's guarded continuously 24/7, irrespective of weather. There's military guard there. So the other thing I thought I'd talk about today was presidents and military service. And I thought this was an easy question, but I may have to do a dissertation on this because I look and I see some lists from the American Legion that say 31 presidents had some military service, and then one from the VA that says 29, and I've seen a list that says 26. So one of the ones I think is interesting that is on the American Legion website is Thomas Jefferson. Now, Thomas Jefferson never actively served in the military, but he was the governor of Virginia during the American Revolution. So by that, he may have been served in the military by being commander of the Virginia militia. Other than that, some interesting ones. Post-World War or post-Civil War, we had a lot of Civil War veterans, Grant all the way to McKinley. McKinley elected in 1900. And then post-World War II, we've had several presidents that served in World War II. We only had one president serve or see combat in World War I, and that was Harry Truman. Dwight Eisenhower was in the military, but was stateside, never deployed to Europe. The last president we had that saw combat was George H.W. Bush, and he was a pilot in World War II and shot down over the Pacific. His entire crew was killed, but he survived. George W. Bush, the most recent veteran, served in the Air National Guard in Texas. But the other three most recent, Obama, Clinton, and Trump, all avoided military service. Zachary Taylor is the one that has the longest career. He had 40 years in the military before becoming president. Dwight Eisenhower was right about 34. And then the youngest one to be wounded in a war was Andrew Jackson. During the American Revolution, he was a 13-year-old courier, so he wasn't in the military, but he was a courier, and he was slashed across the face with a sword by a British officer when he refused to clean his boots. And then he went on to have an illustrious military career. But again, he was wounded in the American Revolution. James Monroe was the only other president wounded during the American Revolution. So anyway, that's what I have for you today, and I will see you tomorrow.